Welcome everyone! Welcome to another preview. This is MetalCanyon, and we'll be previewing a very special game from Larian Studios, Divinity Original Sin 2. Now, you might have seen Divinity Original Sin, the first one, on my channel. We've played it with Jezdemal, and it's quite a large, expensive, and rather awesome game. I mean, Larian has really done good with that. And now they've been hard at work at making the second one. And let me tell you, are you in for a treat? Wow. Now, before we move anywhere, I would just like you to listen to some of the music. Right here in the menu, for example. I know I'll be yapping over it, but just listen to some of the compositions. Now, you might or might not know that Kirill Pokrovsky, the composer for Divinity Original Sin 1, had sadly passed away. So Larian Studios had to find someone else. Now, Kirill Pokrovsky was absolutely a master, but personally, I didn't maybe fully enjoy all of his work. What I did really enjoy was Borislav Slavov, who did music for Crysis 2 and 3, for example. I thought Crysis 2 music was just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm very happy to say that he is the composer for Divinity Original Sin 2. And all of the music that I've heard so far in this game is just mind-bogglingly amazing. And I don't like to yap on the main menu of games that I preview, but I just wanted to, mention that. If you get the chance, just listen to some of the compositions that he did for Divinity 2. It's just, it literally brings a tear to my eye sometimes. Listen to that. So amazing. Anyway, Divinity Original Sin 2, it's quite a lot more, there's a lot more stuff they want to do with it. For one, let me just start a new single-player campaign. Yes, there will also be, of course, multiplayer, and it's going to be very important, in fact, if you do decide to co-op with other players. I'll get into more of that later. Just listen to this piece, by the way, in the meantime. How awesome is that? Just absolutely lovely, lovely music. Okay, I'll stop going on and on about it now. Anyway, unlike the previous game, you are now able to select your race. Before, you were only able to be human, male or female. Now, you can actually select your race. Now, another new thing that is, new to the game is the origin stories. Now, these mean that you can select a certain origin story for your character. For example, slave no more, you still bear scars your master gave you, and wield the skills he taught you. Femme fatale, spy, assassin. Skills you plan to use against all masters. Now, the interesting thing is these will give you, special quest lines, special things to do, special dialogue options in the game, and basically, you will play a sort of a pre-made character. Now, I can't change her gender here, I can't change her name, and I can't change her race. However, I can change whether she's a knight, a ranger, and so on and so forth. I can change her classes, and now, in a way that's kind of a little bit disappointing for me, because I'd really like to customize everything, but I understand that, because the gender and the races play quite a big role in how people, react to you, how NPCs react to you. That would just be a hell of a lot of writing. And while I'm talking about writing, by the way, they have added quite a few writers to their team, and I believe there will be like a quadruple amount of writing in the game this time, which also, sadly, I believe does mean that, oh man, I'm gonna start crying from this music. Does mean that the game will not be fully voice acted, unfortunately. Would be nice, but oh well. Anyway, I have to say that the writing's pretty awesome, and I'll get into that more later. So anyway, you've got a few origin stories, but you also have a custom one. I believe there will be 6 origin stories. Now, if you select custom, your past is history. All that matters is your present in Fort Joy. A sorcerer in a land ravaged by sores. You await the cure promised by the divine order. Now, this is one I usually take because, unfortunately, I don't, like any of the combos. I don't really want to play a human, even though they do look awesome. We'll get onto that just in a bit. You've got another human, you've got the Red Prince, which is a lizard. That's a new race, it's pretty awesome, and Sibyl. So anyway, if we go to custom, let's look at the armors. They are amazing, and the races themselves are bloody amazing. Just look at some of this stuff. Now, there's also another cool thing. Each race will have their own armor look. So if you can see, the elves are very sort of, nature-inspired. They've got leaves, very sort of organic armors. So it's pretty awesome. We can also go to a male. And yes, ladies, you will be able to enjoy half-dressed elves as well as we will. The males will be able to enjoy half-dressed females. Because, of course, the higher the level of the armor, the less armor there is. As it should be, of course. Anyway, yeah, the armors are amazing. And because every race gets their own look to the armor, it means that if you're playing with a friend who's playing a human, and he gives you this chainmail, for example, it will look completely different on your elf, or your lizard, or your dwarf. I believe the dwarves... Oh yeah, the dwarves are in the game already. But anyway, let me just show you some of these... Some of these armors. They just look awesome. Also, the poses are pretty awesome, I feel. Now, since I've seen that the game will also have a lizard race, and I saw how cool they looked, I decided I am going to play a lizard. I also love the female poses. She's like, I don't give a crap. You come near, you'll get this huge sword shoved up your ass. Look at that. That is so cool. I have to say, music, absolutely amazing. Armor designs, absolutely amazing. Just general character designs, absolutely amazing. They have done so much. They have put so much... Wait. How did I get past all the others? That's it. They have done so much for these. It's just lovely. Anyway, let's see. Human. We've got the lizards. I'll show you that in a bit. We've got the dwarves, which are also pretty cool. And remember, this is not just visual. What race you pick will heavily depend. Will heavily influence what kind of influence you have on other characters in the game, NPCs, and how they will react to you. For example, I know for a fact that lizards, they are, they have formed an ancient empire. Well, they have formed the ancient empire a long, long time ago, and they are very aristocratic and so on. As you can see, dwarves are fiercely nationalistic followers of their empress. Their proud society reveres source and is class-based, deeply divided between haves and have-nots. So if you look at the elves, for example, elegant and long-lived elves are skilled sorcerers. Memory is the keystone of elven culture. They can absorb memories by consuming the flesh of others. Yep, that's right. Elves are usually in games, just elegant and bright and very, sort of, in a way, peaceful. And they are here, elegant and very interesting as well. But they're also corpse eaters. Which means that, it's an interesting mechanic and also an interesting addition to their lore. Something a little bit unusual, unorthodox. So, if you see a body, usually they will have like a piece of, I don't know, an arm or a leg or something, and you give it to your, whether NPC in your party, who's an elf, or you're an elf, or your friend is an elf, and they will eat it. They will consume the part and actually give you a piece of their memory. So sometimes you get, interesting clues to treasure. Sometimes you just get interesting fluff. So it's really cool. Anyway, my absolute favorite has to be the lizard. They just look so cool. Lizards of the ancient empire are cultured aristocrats, source adepts who follow rules of law. Outsiders see their society as elitist. Lizards see outsiders as servants, of course, as they should be. Anyway, they are sophisticated, which gives you +2 intelligence. Anyway, I wanted to play a lizard when I saw the game, and I told myself, yeah, they just look so cool. I will be playing a lizard. But then, you know, because I'll probably be doing co-op with Jesdemal, I thought to myself, I was looking at also the females, and I thought, oh man, look at how cool they look. Now, the coolest thing is probably they're even taller than the males. And just look at the armor. They have a very, for me, they have a very sort of almost Arabic style. You know, with those little baubles and such. And some of the armor that they can have is so cool. Look at that. Also, the poses are awesome, I feel. Also, a really cool thing is their tails get armored according to the armor you wear. So that's extra cool. Look at that. I mean, just come on. Look at that. Fighter. Fighters usually are very badass looking. Anyway, let's just take something. That is a cool looking sword. In fact, it's so cool, and so big, it actually doesn't fit into the screen. Anyway, we've spent so much time on the character creation screen, and you're probably hankering to see all the other stuff. You might have noticed the music instrument. Oh, I should shut up. That voice is so beautiful. Anyway, sorry about that. Right, so you might have noticed the music instruments. If I click on it... There you go. Or the cello. That is one of the coolest things. It's going to be dynamic music. So, for example, you're fighting something, and your character, the lizard, has the, I don't know, the tambura selected. Suddenly, the music will get an addition of a tambura. And, you know, it'll mean that you've done something important, or it's your part of the story. So that is a really cool addition, I feel. Anyway, let's go for customization. Just like before, you can customize quite a lot of things. Like your skills, you know, for the witch, of course, we want, I don't know, geomancer, necromancer, a little bit of vitality. Now, magic and physical armor works quite a lot different than before. I will show you that in a bit. In fact, there was no magical armor per se before. Oh, we've also got a lot in persuasion. Also, you get a lot more skill points this time around, unlike before. Before you got them every few levels, now you get them every level. And so, in a way, these skills get a little less important, and also these magical skills, before you actually had to have up to level 5, I think was maximum, to get more spells. And it was very difficult to increase the levels, because for the first one it was 1 point, for the second one it was 2 points, and so on and so forth. Lovely music again. Over here now, it just gives you a flat bonus on damage and also range, which is kind of cool. So anyway, you put the points in, and then you've got talents. That works just like before. You get 1 talent every few levels. They're very few and far in between. But, you know, you've got interesting stuff like Pet Pal, just like before, which enables you to talk to animals. The zombie, a lot of this is the same as before. And we get the leech, which heals us when standing in blood. And also, you know, you've got all this stuff like Lore Master, Telekinesis, Sneaking, Thievery, and so on. Now, we can also change our attributes, which also, I believe we get a lot of points for that. We want something in intelligence and something in wits. And we can customize our skills. Now, these are all the skills and spells we have available from the get-go. So, actually, sorry. These are the ones we can select, and these are the ones we'll get. So, how about we get... Rain of Blood is kind of cool. Decaying Touch... Mosquito Swarm, and maybe a Fossil Strike. Sets poison to enemies around you. Well, let's go for Fossil Strike. There. And we can also change our character. itself. Now, unlike before, you don't actually select your, your avatar picture, because now it gets changed according to how you make your character, which is really cool, I feel. Also, there's a button to remove the armor, and that's really cool. You can see that the lizards actually sort of have like, I don't know, scales, or... I mean, they are full of scales, but it's like armor on them. It's pretty cool. Anyway, you can change the skin color, which is very cool. I do prefer the, like, desertish ones, or orangish, Persian orange. The funny thing is, the lore says that... and you'll actually meet NPCs in the game that tell you this. The lizards smell of oranges. Also, one really cool thing, and I'll really stop going on about armor, is that if you notice, some of the armor actually adds claw stuff. So they really went all out with the armor designs. I love it. Anyway, you can change the head. Let me just do this so you can see it up close. That was kind of cool. I do prefer this head, and also you can change the hair, quote-unquote, and some of it is really cool. Look at that stuff. I prefer this one. This one just reminds me of that, you know that little dinosaur thing in Jurassic Park that kills the traitor guy? I can't remember now, but yeah, it just reminds me of that. Anyway, that's my favorite. And you can also change the color of the hair, quote-unquote. So let's just put something red. And also facial features. No facial features. I don't know if lizards will actually have any facial features. Possibly. I don't know. Right now they don't have them. Also, before we actually begin, I should have said that right at the beginning, but this is an alpha. This is nowhere near finished, and many things are still missing, so keep that in mind. Also, one last thing is the tags. Now, we automatically get the female and lizard because that's what we are. So we can manage it and add 2 more aspirations. For example, noble and scholar. You can also pick rogue, mystic, jester, and so on. And these will give you various, options in dialogue. Sometimes you'll be able to... solve puzzles with these. It's pretty awesome and pretty complex. So, let's accept this. Yes, we are done creating our... Oh yeah, I didn't give her a name, but there you go.
Honorable Dallas.
We are going to skip this, just because I don't want you to be completely spoiled. That's another thing, by the way. I told myself, I kickstarted this game, and I told myself I don't want to play it in early access. I want to play the full game because I don't want to spoil stuff for myself. And then I got a review key, and I have to spoil it for myself. And, I usually play review games for a bit to see what's, going on. But this game, I just couldn't stop playing. I have, 8 hours racked in it, and I really forced myself to stop. I don't want to see too much stuff. Now, the first thing you might notice if you've played the previous game is that the textures and everything else looks a lot more detailed and a lot nicer. The previous game was not ugly by any means or stretch of imagination, but this game just looks beautiful. Look at this. You can zoom in and see. I mean, of course, yeah, you can see that the textures are a little bit blurry, but, most of the time you'll play zoomed out. But it's just beautiful. Look at all the details. Look at the shading effects. It's just lovely. Anyway, here's our character. A little bit too big to fit into the screen, but the female lizards, I believe, are pretty much the tallest race of the playable races. So that's pretty cool. The animations aren't completely finished, but, mostly they are, so, I mean, for this character anyway. So, it's pretty lovely to see them, canter and walk, and all the other characters as well. Also for example, unsheathing the weapon. Look at that. Wait a second. Yeah, you can see there a little bit of a bugged animation. But, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. That's so cool. Anyway, just like before, you can open crates and various things, and all the inventories get their appropriate background. So because this is a crate, it gets a crate background. I do like that. So anyway, here's our inventory, just like before. Inventory management has been sort of made a lot easier to party management, party inventory management, because we'll get all the party inventories over here and we can just scroll through it, and you don't have to right click and send to this character or drag it over to their avatar anymore. You can just drag it over between their inventories or just immediately equip them. So that is very cool. Anyway, you can also press left alt just like before to see stuff that you couldn't perhaps see otherwise. Anyway, so we've got our spells over here. The spell bar is a lot bigger than before. I really like that because if you've played the previous game, you know that the spell bar was a bit small and limited. Not anymore, though. It's quite a lot bigger, and it's doubtful that you'll ever have enough spells to fill it completely out. You might have, especially because all the scrolls and usable items, well, actually not usable items, but scrolls and stuff like that, automatically gets put on your spell bar. You can just remove it if you want, by the way. Oh. Oops, I actually flung the scroll away. How do you... I thought you could do that. Maybe not. Anyway, let's show you a little bit more of the game. One more thing before we move on is that, unlike before, you can now rotate the camera at 360 degrees, which is very, very cool. One, it means that you can observe and, admire the world in all its glory. I mean, look at this. Although, on the other hand, I found it sometimes it gets a little bit difficult to see where exactly you are and where you're going. For example, if I'm like this, it's like, I'm trying to click over there. I have to turn the camera. So much work. First world problems. Anyway, let's talk to this shrine. I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King, eradication and all. So let's go and talk to this boy over here, Tam. Or is that a girl? The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you and his arms snap to his sides. I'm not supposed to talk to lizards. And there you go. Because we're a lizard, we can select the lizard option. Tell him that's a pity. Lizards are famed storytellers. Tell the kid to stop, to keep to himself then, or take your leave. Let's tell him that lizards are famed storytellers. Really? Like, what kind of stories? Tell him you know of an excellent one about a dragon king. He ruled vast lands and married a beautiful elf princess. So you could recount the tales of Visha, a famed lizard adventurer who slew the seven-headed snake of Oram. Well, he's a boy, so he'll probably like the seven-headed snake. A seven-headed snake? That sounds scary. Can I hear it anyway? You warmly tell the tale of Visha, but despite your best efforts, you notice that your knowledge of legends and monsters is somehow upsetting the child. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that bring the bad void things here? Say you must be, or you wouldn't be here. Ask if he thinks you look like a sorcerer. Nod, you are, and by the looks of that collar around his neck, so is he. The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks to himself again. I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. Tell him they may well be wrong and crazy. Ask the child why he's out here alone. Yeah, why is he out here alone? No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave this island. It's nicer out here than inside anyway. Ask him if his parents know where he is. They're gone now. The Magisters took them already. I guess now they're cured, and maybe they're waiting for me back at home. Say it isn't safe out here. Your ship was attacked by Voidwoken not far off the shore. I saw. I guess a lot of people died, but you didn't. Ask him why he doesn't seem scared. I guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. Say you survived the Voidwoken attack by the skin of your teeth. He should really find somewhere safer to go. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see. Now, you might have noticed that, unlike before where you got whole sentences, to tell people, I think I know why they did it this way. Like, say this and that. Because in the previous game was never meant to be fully voiced, but because it was so successful, they, fully voiced it free of charge, which was very nice of them. But this game, I think mostly main characters will be fully voiced. So instead of giving you a whole, paragraph of what they will actually say when you select a response, you just get sort of a short description of what you want to say, the gist of it. Oh. Where are we supposed to go? This way, then. Oh, yeah. I do apologize. Anyway, let's just show you a little bit of combat. I believe there's some combat here. The environment is just beautiful. Also remember, a lot of the sound effects are not implemented yet. And so is the music. So, Voidwalken. Those are the same beasts that sunk our ship. Damn, we made it to shore. So, a really cool thing, the tutorial would pop up here, but I already did it. A really cool thing is you can press and hold shift. And now, unlike before, you can see where you will aggro the enemies. Or, if you're not familiar with the term aggro, where you will cause them to become aggressive to you. So, if I step into the red, we'll start combat. If I change... If I start sneaking, you can see that this changes quite a lot, which is really, really cool, because before, I also love the tail, by the way, sticking out, that's just funny, because before, there was really no way to tell when you'd be spotted while sneaking and when you wouldn't be. So as you can see, because he's looking this way, he would see me. And when I pop out, boom, and step into the red, fight. Now, remember what I said about instruments. We've picked the tambura instrument, which means that we'll have a cool instrument playing when we kill something. So, let's... Oh, chance to set bleeding. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, let's do a fossil strike. Now, just like before, you've got your action points over here. Now, you might notice, if you play the previous game, there's a lot fewer points here than otherwise. Now, this is because they've sort of... Well, they changed the whole thing and made it not inflated so much, if that makes any sense. Before, for example, some of the biggest spells used like 12, 13 action points, and you actually had to wait a few turns to use them. Now, however, they made it a lot more, sort of fluid, maybe? You don't have to wait for your spells, unless, of course, you use them and then they have to recharge, but the game now gives you an option to use any of your spells you like, because mostly they use 1 to 2 action points. And that's really cool. So, you're never like, oh man, I'd really like to use that spell, but I have to haste myself and then wait 2 or 3 turns to get all the action points and not do anything in between. So now, let's use a fossil strike. Remember, stuff is not finished yet. Bang! Look at that. That was quite nice. It slowed. Now let's use let's use a Rain of Blood, because we'll also get health back, because we've got that leech thing. I love the... Oh, I know you. Ugh, look at that. Also, there's one more thing we have to talk about, and that is environmental effects. Remember in the previous game? Whoa! You were able to, electrify pools of blood or pools of water. You were able to, for example, this is oil. You were able to, cast fire on oil and just have everything burn. Now, it's even more complex. All of that is back. However, now there's also cursed and blessed surfaces. Now, because these things are sort of weird, I don't actually know exactly what they are yet, but they come from the source. They automatically curse surfaces. So as you can see, all these weird tendrils, if you leave the mouse over them, it says cursed blood, applies diseased, reducing character's constitution. And unlike before, if you're, on a fiery surface, you won't just get damaged by walking over it, you will get damaged by standing in it. So no longer can you just say, okay, well, I'm on fire, I'm not going to, walk from here to here, if this was all on fire, because I would just take more damage. Yes, you do want to, because you will keep taking damage if you're in it. And also, the cursed and blessed surfaces really give, a whole new meaning to all of this elemental play now, because the cursed and blessed surfaces have a lot of very positive and very negative effects, so you don't want to be caught in them if they're negative. For example, if I were to use the Dragon's Blaze, which is a lizard, a racial skill by the way, it will cause fire to all these surfaces. Well, actually, I think it will, yeah. And it will cause necro fire, which cannot be extinguished. It's pretty cool. So anyway, what I could do is just hit it with my staff twice, or use the Staff of Mages. Let's hit it once. As I said, the animations will need another set of, you know, polishing passes. So don't worry about... Do you hear that music? That's our instrument that we picked. And now we're diseased. Just listen to that. That's so cool. So now we are diseased. Maximum vitality is decreased. Let's use the Mosquito Swarm, which deals damage, physical damage, and heals ourselves. Oh, bloody hell, that killed it. This ground appears to be cursed. More than meets the eye with these creatures. Let's walk out of that because it applies diseased. Now we can, of course, get their stuff. Smelly pants. Lovely. Now, of course, this stuff, you know, goes away after a while. There's also one more thing that I have to admit I have not tried out yet because I've completely forgotten about it. And that is mixing spells. For example, if I have the Rain of Blood, I could probably mix it with, like, I don't know, a fiery spell, and it will start raining fire, I'm assuming. You know, there are things like that you can do now. Drowned and eaten by a void woken. I wonder which order. So yeah, you can create some really crazy spells now. I have not tried it yet though. I don't even know how to get to that part. Let's try K. Default deck C. Oh yeah, I should talk about spells now. Before, you know, depending on your character's skills in magic, for example, I don't know, maybe I had 2 in Necromancer. So I would be able to get a few spells, but not all of them, because the higher ones would require level 3 Necromancer, or level 4, and so on and so forth. But, you know, any that I've learned were available to me. Now, however, it's a little bit more like a D&D system. I say a little bit more because it's not quite, but a little bit, you know, similar. These are all our available spells that we know. They cost memory. And we also have memory slots. We have 5 memory slots. And, you know, we can cast them all right now and have them prepared. Now, if I had a spell which took 3 points, for example, or let's say Rain of Blood was 4 points, I wouldn't be able to put it here. I would have to deselect one of these and only had Rain of Blood because it would take 4 memory slots. So it's quite important now that you also increase your memory stat. Because, you know, you won't be able to use all the spells otherwise at all times. So you'll have to decide which ones you want to have prepared and which ones you don't at that particular moment. So that's kind of interesting, you know. It's right here. Memory. There. Memory affects your amount of memory slots which are required to learn skills. More powerful skills cost more memory slots. So, yeah. And also, now we've got some smelly pants. Lovely. Let's put them on. And this is already the first part. I love seeing the transformation on the characters when you put stuff on, especially because they all have their own, you know, designs. Look at this. It's smelly pants, really, you know, beginning armor, but they made it look so interesting. And of course, they fit the character in question. Look at that. It also added a huge thing to the tail, which is pretty awesome. But I love the sort of Arabic design. Somebody will probably correct me. It's not Arabic. It's, I don't know, looked like Persian or this or that, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I pretty much love the design. Anyway, dialogue. As I said, they have hired quite a few more writers this time around. And also, something which I do enjoy is that the writing is... Oh, there's the Red Prince. That's one of the NPCs. And in fact, one of the characters you can actually select as an origin story. But yeah, the writing is a lot more mature this time around. If you've played through the previous game, you know that there was quite a bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff. You know, talking to animals, which is actually still in this game. But there was a lot of stuff that was just, you know, tongue-in-cheek, funny, silly. This time around, though, it's a lot more... It's a lot darker, a lot more serious. Which, personally, I have to say I quite enjoy. They said that they will still, you know, make an effort to make us laugh. But, yeah. everything will be a lot more mature this time around. So yeah, I do quite enjoy that. Let's talk to the Red Prince. Also, maybe I should talk about this first. If you look up at the top, it says the Red Prince, and he's got 82 hit points. He's got 21 on the top left armor, and 11 in the blue bar magical armor. So the combat works a little bit differently this time around, which is, I think it's a really, really cool addition. So this means that if we want to attack the Red Prince with a spell, we'll have to get through the blue bar first, because that's his magical armor. It won't really block, well, in a way it will absorb spells. So for example, if I do 10 damage, he will still have 1 magical armor left, and as long as he has magical armor left, if my spell did 10 damage and would cause burning, he will not burn. So all the statuses will be blocked. If I did 12 damage, for example, he will burn, because he's no longer has magical armor. Now all of this stuff replenishes at the end of the combat, so, you know, you're always left with that amount for the next combat. Now, physical stuff works the same way. If I had a cripple physical skill, for example, I would not be able to cripple him until I actually took his physical armor off. So that's really cool. Let's talk to him. You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright blood red color. Ah, bloody hell. Sorry, I'm on that phone. Never before have you seen a lizard such as this, and that's because the red color, I believe, is not available. It's not something lizards come in, you know, in a red color. Greet him with a pretty phrase. You're pleased to make his acquaintance. Casually remark he should find a place in the shade. Looks like he's been standing in the sun for far too long. Gleefully sneak up on him with the intention of pushing him into the sea. Yeah, let's greet him with a pretty phrase. The lizard turns towards you with the graceful ease of a dancer or a duelist. He looks you up and down with a less than impressed expression. I'd be pleased to make my acquaintance too, for I've yet to meet a soul on this damnable isle worth of the honor. Are you worthy of the honor? I rather fancy I'll find the answer meandering toward a 2-letter negative. Say you're intrigued by the color of his skin. This is the first time you've ever seen a red lizard. That's because I'm the only one. They call me the Red Prince, the spouse of the sun. They say that when I was born, the sun didn't set for 7 days. So enamored was she with little red me. Be that as it may, I fancy I was rather lucky to be born a prince. It made them celebrate my uniqueness. Had I been common-born, they might have drowned me in a well. Notice that he seems to be quite alone. Did he ever consider looking for companionship? Ask if perhaps it was his birthright he was contemplating, a matter of life and death. Now notice that he seems to be quite alone. No. Okay, was it his birthright? Not quite, no. One doesn't usually ponder what one takes for granted. Life and death, though. Life and death. I don't know why I would even tell you this, but at this defining moment in time, I'm quite beyond the vanities that would otherwise impede me. I find my mind wandering along the wall-like frontier of suicide, you see. To scale it or not to scale it, that is my conundrum. Express horror and outrage. Suicide can never be a solution. Say it is regrettable that circumstances have brought him so low. Remark that you should always lend a hand, should courage fail. That would hardly be fair, now would it? The operative notion in suicide is that of the self after all. Besides, courage never fails me. Weakness does not belong to the characteristics of a prince. Say true courage wouldn't mean that he braves the misfortunes that assail him. Why doesn't he join you? You intend to escape from this isle. Escape? I had not considered the option, being neither avian nor amphibian in nature. The prospect would please me, I admit, my alternative being rather dour. But tell me, why would I cast in my lot with you, sister? Said it you'll make it back home or die trying. If he sticks with you, he'll have the chance too. Home. I do not think there is any such thing, and yet, to see, perhaps to touch, if for one final time. The lizard's eyes, soft as the sea just a moment ago, turned to stone, cold, determined, unyielding. Home. You've convinced me. Let's go. So we've gotten a new companion. And just like before, he is fully controllable. In fact, this time around it seems like you can control his dialogue as well, fully. So there is his inventory, and you can just swap out like this. So, for example, if I wanted him to have these, prisoner's pants, which he already has, but let's pretend that these are an upgrade, I could, in the previous game, you would have to either send to the Red Prince by right-clicking, or you would have to send it like this, but now you can just either, drag it between the inventories, or just directly drag it to his personal inventory, which is cool. Do give me a moment. I do apologize about that. Anyway, yeah, and you can also, fully control him. Like, you can have him as the lead of the party, and you can talk to people with him. As you can see, we only have physical armor, while he has physical and magical armor. But that will change when we get new items. So, let's explore more of the map. Here is the map. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can scroll it around. It's quite detailed, so, it'll help you quite a bit. There's like secrets, waypoint shrines, just like before, quest markers. You can also put down your own markers, just like before. Blah. Here we go. So there is our blah marker. And you can also select it to show to other players, I assume, in co-op. Now, talking about other players in co-op, in the previous game, there was a little bit of either, romance and such possible, but not much else. I mean, sometimes there were decisions to be made, like, should we kill this person? And, you had to argue with the other person through dialogue. Oh yeah, I've spotted something interesting. Now, because we're a lizard, we can just automatically dig without a shovel, which is a pretty cool animation. Dig, 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 dig. So what do we have? We have a small bag, buried treasure, a little bit of gold. Why not? That's all right. But this time around, the dialogue and the, stuff that people can do, characters can do, is a lot more varied, and I'm so excited about this. Let's say you have a party of 4 people, and all 4 people are played by, for all 4 characters are played by actual people, which means, oh hello, you there, lizard, you came from the wrecked ship, are there any Voidwoken ashore? Quickly inform them that you saw some smaller. Say they're a little late, you already killed the last of the Voidwoken that made it to dry land. You killed Voidwoken? She reaches out and tugs hard on your collar, checking that it's firmly in place. You must have been pretty badly hurt in the wreck. Let's hope there aren't any more incoming. Are there any other survivors? Oh, I think it's a she. Oh well. So you're not sure, you're just getting to your bearings. Lions say you saw a wounded magister on the beach. So you didn't see anyone else. No, you're not sure, you're just getting your bearings. Shite. Let's go, Corello. It was Jalen on the last ship, right? Maybe he made it to shore. And you, inmate, head on into the camp, but be careful. Dallas and Alexander are busy up ahead. Don't interrupt them if you want to keep your skin. I'd stow your weapons if I were you. Oh, somebody has their weapons out, I guess. For some reason. Yeah. I don't know. It gets a little bugged sometimes, but as I said, this is an alpha. And it's polished beyond belief. Anyway, I was talking about, let's say you have 4 characters and 4 people playing them. So suddenly you get to a place where, they tell you, oh, you lizard, you're not going anywhere. You elf, you can go in, and you human as well, but you dwarf, bugger off. Or, they will have to find their own ways into the place. Or, which is even more interesting, let's say that somebody comes over to me and whispers to me that they want the Red Prince, who's played by another player, killed. So nobody else would know that I talked to that person, that I got a quest to kill the Red Prince, or to steal something, or to, do something that he wouldn't like. Now that will bring up arguments and dialogue and even in-party fights. So I'm really excited about that, because it just gives you so much interesting dynamic possible. It's pretty awesome. Oh, it's this place. Liar, we already know the truth. Now speak. Stay back, lizard, and stay silent. Your savior is speaking. Oh yeah, this is Dallas the Hammer. Come, Alexander. I'd sooner cut out my tongue than lie to you. I know nothing of this Virtus. Then do it. If you can tell His Holiness no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out. This can't be serious, Alexander. Come on. You will address me with the proper honorifics, Magister, and you will obey your superior, whatever she may ask. Why do we have... Oh, should have had my main character selected. Oh well. Quietly, see, I've got the Scholar and Noble, or Lizard, or the Red Prince, because he's the Red Prince. Command the kin to disobey. She stands above the petty laws of slave folk. Yeah, that's right. Your stomach turns, but your hand feels frozen. Yeah. Stay silent, Lizard! Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with the 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans. Ugh. Stop! Dallas, I believe you've made your point. My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop and your friend these many years. Your bishop and your friend, who only wishes to save the realm from destruction. Dallas. Yes, your holiness? We are done here. So, unfortunately, there we go. He's now a pile of something. Pity. Look at these things. Come, pets. Your savior will be missing us. Look at them. Ugh. Anyway, so this is the fort where we will be spending our beginning days. And there's Atusa's leg, which an elf can eat and get her memories, which is pretty interesting. Now, I'm wondering if I have left anything out. So, you know, this is already a pretty long preview, but I just wanted to make sure that you see everything. Well, not see everything. I don't want you to spoil things. Oh, there's a exclamation mark. The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of her own gore. That was rather spectacular. There must be more to this Dallas woman than meets the eye. To die at the hands of a human is insulting and unjust, no matter what your house. I will have blood for her blood. So we can, we can talk for both of them. And now we talk with our own character. These are painful times. Sometimes people must suffer for the greater good. So much for divine order, compassion. There we go. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to spoil anything because I think this game will be just fantastic. I've played through, a few hours of the first act, which is the only act that's completed right now. And of course, it's not polished or completely finished yet. But it's just, the game is just amazing. I cannot wait for this game to be released in 2017. The Larian Studios is doing such an amazing job and they're so energetic about it. You should check out some of their, development vlogs. They're awesome. And I love the character designs. I love the armor. I love the spells. The music is beautiful. And it's just I cannot wait to see how the whole party dialogue will work. Because right now, it's not actually complete. Sometimes you get, party dialogue coming up, coming later. So there's also gonna be romance and hate and stuff like that within the party. So that's gonna be another level of craziness they're going to put in. Also, because they hit all their Kickstarter goals, there will also be a Game Master mode in the game, which I think is just going to be bloody amazing. I mean, just replayability through the roof. And I cannot recommend this game more. It's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, instead of me just going crazy about it and keep babbling on about it, just, go and buy the game, pre-order it. Because right now, I really don't see how they would be able to make it bad on release. I really don't. I think the entire team would have to work for months with the sole intent of sabotaging the game to actually make it bad. So yeah, I think this is a surefire. If you like the previous game, you're going to love this one. If you like RPGs, you're going to love this one. I do. I can't wait to play it properly, and it's just, I'm going to listen to more of the music now. I hope you've really enjoyed this. This was MetalCanyon. And we've been previewing Divinity Original Sin 2. Have a good one. Bye-bye.